Testimony continued today in the most notorious criminal trial in Richland County. Dr. John Boyle is accused of killing his wife Maureen and burying her body.
The 12-year-old son finally took the stand.
Boyd confidently told the jury it was his decision to testify against his father.
I heard a scream. I heard a thud. It was about this loud.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
I decided at an early age that our trauma should not be what defines us. It's what we choose to do with it that does. I'm here to share my unique perspective on true crime, mental health, society, and popular culture, and always with a slight sense of humor. I'm Collier Landry, and welcome to my show. Mover Nation, I leave for a couple of days to go filming in Chicago, and the whole world goes off its rocker. What is happening? I'm just sitting here working on stuff. I'm getting caught up. All three of you, welcome. I'm just sitting here working on stuff. I'm like, I'm working on YouTube content. And all of a sudden, somebody texted me and said, Trump, Baba. Can't really say it. Trump shot. I'm like, what? Like, wait, hold on. What? And here we are. The whole world goes off. I go to Chicago, the whole world goes off its rocker. And there we go. Clearly, Alec Baldwin's case gets thrown out, which I'm not surprised, by the way. Wasn't even going to talk about that until tomorrow on the live. But I'm sitting here, I'm working on content for that. And I get these text messages, and I just watch this, and I don't talk about politics on this channel for many reasons. I watch politics, but I am this is wild to me. And on the outskirts says, okay, well, that's wow. I'm going to text my friend here. One of my friends, some of my friends messaged me and said, this is a hoax. I said, I realize that you guys, I grew up in Ohio, so I grew up around firearms. I know what they sound like. I'm like, this is no hoax. It's wild. I can't believe what we just saw. I mean, I must have watched it 10 times. I'm like, is this really happening in America? Yes, it is really happening in America. Mover Nation, welcome. Sorry, I have been out. I've been filming in Chicago with my trusty drone and all my toys. And it is, yes, this is just bad. Where were you, Mr. Lady? No, I did not. It's just awful that people have lost their life. And it skimmed his ear. Yes. We can watch it. Let's pull it up. This is wild to me. I just can't believe that. I'm dumbfounded. And I talk about true crime. But this, I think, qualifies as true crime. Because, well, there we have it. I don't even know what to say. And Alec Baldwin yesterday had his case dismissed by the judge, which I'm not. Court McNeil, thank you. You're going to verify the details. I've turned my ringer off, but there's so many people. Wow. I just, and whoever shot that photograph, it reminds me of the David Burnett shot of Al Gore on the Holga, which won the Pulitzer Prize. It's not the first interesting. Yeah, innocent people were hurt. Yeah, it's terrible. And I was trying to explain to somebody, that's not a hoax. That's not a BB gun, guys. That's not like silliness. That's real. This is big boy stuff. This is unbelievable. Sorry, guys. I don't talk about politics here. And I don't think this is political. I think this is very true crime-ish. I'm still kind of in a lot of shock here. Let's before it gets taken down off YouTube. Let's pull up. Let's go to our dear friends at our good friends at Fox News. Let me pull that up. Marisol is downstairs being very bad. This is wild.
Hunker down. You don't need to go out and do things. You might want to take a heightened security posture, and if they don't have
Let's see here. I'll probably get in trouble for
broke the log jam.
Capacity when we do it together.
this is a live. Hold on, here we go. This
President Biden in Butler, Pennsylvania, where former President Donald Trump for Fox News.
This is it.
He's a good man too. He's a valiant fighter. He's a great gentleman. So we're gonna bring him up for Carmack. You get ready. I'll get you up here. More confident.
He was talking about immigration, his usual.
And to make sure we take back the White House.
Hold on here. This is where it happened.
Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount.
Yeah, this is where it. Okay, this is wild, guys. This is wild.
To our country, and then the worst president in the history of our country took over, and look what happened to our country.
Hi, Gen X.
Probably 20 million people.
I mean, look how quickly they just. And he's right. This is wild. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a Trump fan, but this is not right. Exactly. And people have lost their lives, and just, it's so wild. Another person in serious condition. So 2 people. Yeah. Yeah, it's so close.
Okay, they are escorting the former
It's
President
terrifying.
Donald Trump away from this podium.
It's terrifying that was televised, and that
You
could have
just
been.
heard
I mean,
moments
this is
ago
already
what sounded
terrifying
like a
enough.
popping noise. No confirmation as of yet as to what that could have been. It really could be anything at this point.
I mean,
We
look at
don't
him. He's
know
like,
if
"Oh,
it was
yeah,
shots
let's
fired in the
go."
distance. We don't know if it was possibly fireworks or something of that
Oh, my,
nature. But you see
did I get in trouble?
that entire crowd there may just
Oh,
be
they
joining
probably
us.
blur
This
it.
is a developing
They
story.
probably blur it for
We're
security
still
reasons, I'm sure.
working to learn more about what exactly happened there. Again, it was popping noises. We do
Not even
know if
inches,
there is
Gen
a
X Granny.
danger to
Gen
any
X
of
Granny. I was
the
going to take me a minute. I apologize.
attendees at this event at the moment.
Gen X to the 7th power. Not even. Like an inch, maybe. The ear. So, Trump's about my height. His head is much bigger than mine. It's about my height. Wild. So wild. So close. My first part, next time he won't be magnet. Hi, Amika Cream. Thank you for joining as a member. I appreciate it. Welcome. YouTube channel members, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and still play this, by the way.
Moment. This just happened about 10 minutes ago. I'd like to pull up
what's going on
once
here?
again the moments when this all went down in Butler, Pennsylvania at a campaign rally for former President Trump. Let's watch.
Yeah. Could it? No, I don't think Biden would have been, And I almost wonder if now this is going to be a retaliation. I mean, this reminds me of Biggie and Tupac back in the day. Is this going to be now it's an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth? Oh, who knows? I don't know. This is wild to me.
And it is of note, Carell, that we saw immediately when those pops started happening, we saw him reach for that side of his face. We're still waiting for any type of confirmation to figure out what exact Homeland Security advisor. So Hal, Homeland Security, Secret Service, what are going to be these agencies' respective roles in an ongoing investigation of this magnitude?
Horrific.
Well,
what do you guys?
Oh,
sorry,
Secret Service
make the screen
is
bigger.
part of the Department of Homeland Security. So what you're seeing there is the chain of command. You're seeing the head of the Secret Service
my
there,
friend in
which
Homeland
makes sense.
Security. He's probably
This
going
is an attack
ballistic.
on a protectee, a Secret Service protectee. a candidate for president, so they would be the obvious, first up. Secretary Mayorkas would be there because he is the cabinet member that for Homeland Security, and overall, this is something that he has larger cognizant authority over. But they're also looking at a variety of other things. Remember, next week is the RNC, the Republican National Convention. Now,
have my colleague
Well, it
Austin
seems pretty
Westfall,
moot.
and also
The
national
RNC
security
convention
expert,
seems pretty moot at
counterterrorism
this point.
analyst, and also someone who has worked closely with the Secret Service, Hal Kemper. Austin, I understand that you also
Oh, you were
had,
slept. You were slept and
comments to make
you
about
slept
this
and you woke
breaking
up to
news
my
and
alert.
something you would like
Miss
to ask
K,
about.
where are you?
So, I'll just reset real quick for the folks that may just be joining.
Yeah, basically
Donald
the world
Trump's
is
campaign says that he is, quote, fine
burning.
after being whisked off of the stage after those apparent gunshots rang out. The quote that the campaign sent out says that President Trump thanks law enforcement and first
Don't look at
responders
both
for their quick
monitors.
action during this heinous act. He is fine and is being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow. We've also heard from the Secret Service in a statement that says that the former president is safe. We do know that President Biden has been briefed on the matter. He's met with the director of the Secret Service.
Absolutely,
He's also
C-Money.
met with
I
the
completely agree. I have talked to people who have survived violence in the schools. I've interviewed them on this channel. This is something, I mean, obviously, look, we're witnessing this, and this is horrific, but this is on television in front of potentially millions of people. Doesn't make it any better or worse, but it is, it does bring all this to the forefront of people's consciousness. As Sarah Holman was saying, her kids were watching and her daughter was watching. It brings it right to our doorstep when you see this happen. Yeah, it's just wild. Obviously, Ronald Reagan, JFK, but stunning at a campaign rally, and brings a lot of questions into
head of
a lot to discuss. This is another alternate
there
angle.
are so many people there that if a round came from almost any direction, so obviously President Trump was the target. But look, he's surrounded by people. If you look at what's going on there,
He's
are
like,
so
what
many
is
people
that?
around him.
Did I get stung by a
when we
bee?
didn't have any reports anybody had been hit, I was a little bit surprised.
Again, I'm not.
There are so many people there that if a round came from almost any direction, one might assume it was going to hit somebody. And of course, it does tell you something that it not only hit someone, but they are deceased.
Sorry, I can't see it.
Which will, I could make some inferences on, without knowing anything about the ballistics, that it has to be a fairly substantial round.
Sorry, guys.
That would do that. So I'm thinking it could be a very small caliber round. And
How
that would be
secure will it be in Milwaukee? Yeah, exactly.
But with that said, now that I know that somebody in the area was actually killed, depending on.
I mean, I don't know if I would call him the biggest firearm advocate.
It could be a larger caliber round that was further out. We don't have a lot of information on this.
Do you think
that's the issue right now? We don't know much.
This was staged, CB?
It could have been something as small as a 22.
Are we on to a
which is
conspiracy
very small
theory?
round. It could have been something larger,
Yeah, that's why
like
I
a
said 22
380
caliber.
Those tend to be smaller rounds, or sometimes called 9mm short. Those are smaller rounds, or a 25 caliber round. These are all smaller rounds. That's the issue right now. We don't know much. It could have been something as small as a 22.
Yeah, that was my
very
guess.
Small round. It could have been something larger, like a 380. Those tend to be smaller rounds, or sometimes called 9mm short.
Alec Baldwin was in the
Those
crowd.
are smaller rounds, or a 25 caliber round. These are all
shooter
small
has
rounds.
been.
And these might be rounds that somebody would put in, say, an improvised.
Well,
firearm
let's hope that they don't retaliate.
That they could
let's hope
basically
that,
sneak
that's
into
not...
a rally like this and maybe use it as a weapon. They wouldn't have. They probably wouldn't have a lot of rounds that they could fire.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a fully fledged firearm like a regular semi-automatic weapon. It'd probably be very.
I agree, Sherry Falls. When do we think this is okay to just go about this? It's unbelievable. Woo, boy. Love to our American cousins. So sad to see this. Yes, it's and let's hope that there are not. Oh, all the camera. You missed all the cameras. This is just showing the still of what happened, but the cameras were, obviously there. Popping. I love how the media is like popping noises. No, those were not popping noises. We all know what they are. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's go to another. Let's find another one here. Let's see. Oh, look, you can see all my search history. Rust prosecutor calls herself as witness. We should watch that. Let's see what
Looking
ABC
at
News
this,
has to
Brad,
say.
as a potential assassination attempt. How does an investigation like that move forward from here?
Oh, there we go. This is an interesting question.
So obviously, what the real key is it contained? Do you know enough at this point? Is this a lone shooter? Is this shooter part of a group? So you want to look at that immediately. Based on what the local district attorney is saying, if that is accurate, that you have a shooter down and maybe 2 other people down, that may get answered, I will tell you, through law enforcement, because it's very conceivable that the shooter and these 2 quote unquote bystanders would be shot by law enforcement, because they're going to go to the shot, and there's going to be people, there's going to be snipers around these locations.
Wow.
And so they maybe just immediately beat it in on somebody. But to your question about where they're going to go from here, that's going to be the real key. Is this just some disgruntled guy that doesn't like the former president, or is he part of a group that doesn't like the former president, which then could obviously spin into something else? But this may be a lone actor. We just don't know yet.
Brad Garrett, stand by. Again, we're still waiting on some more information here, but I do want to just, forgive me, I'm going to bring you back for just a follow-up question on that exact point, whether they're looking to see if this was a lone actor, if others may have been involved, as I'm still getting information right now. But from the law enforcement,
I wish I was there shooting photos.
And
I know it sounds terrible.
with John Carl earlier, it's not just the Secret Service, right? You have multiple law enforcement agencies on the ground at these major events, and Secret Service takes the lead, but they're all working together. And we saw some of them come up onto the stage in tactical gear and long guns. How do those partnerships play out in the minutes, the hours, and the days after an event of this magnitude?
So certainly,
he keeps saying fight is what he keeps saying.
Exactly
Fight.
Right. The Secret Service only have so many people, and they're going to coordinate this with the city, county, and state.
I thought he said another F word.
And obviously, in this case, the state of Pennsylvania. They will have practiced, trained prior to this event, and maybe because the president does hold a lot of rallies, have worked together before to cover all.
Yeah, no, that's why I said it was a 22 caliber, probably.
The immediate response and around the
That's what
president.
it sounds like.
But the next layer or 2 layers of wings around security are going to be quite possibly other law enforcement agencies. And to my previous conversation with you, it may have been one of them that got to the shooter, or these 2 quote unquote bystanders. That's the real
Elon
key.
just
Obviously,
endorsed him for president
reacted quickly
on Twitter. By the way,
thing without knowing anymore, with that, the shooter may have been some distance away, which is certainly fortunate for the former president. If he'd have been any closer, this would be a bigger tragic event, of course.
I agree, Sherry Falls.
The whole key right now is this shooter. And
it's not all about. That's an utterly
absolutely.
fanciful.
Brad Garrett for us. We appreciate it.
You know how accurate you'd have to be.
Go to Leonard.
You think he wants to be like, well, I'll trust you to shoot an apple off my head.
At the rally today, he's joining us now on the phone. Sorry. Leonard, can you hear me?
He's crazy. Trump is.
I can hear you. How you doing?
Trump is crazy. Trump is not that crazy. Not to be like, well, if I just move over, I'll just move a little bit. You'll just nick my ear. Come on. No, sorry. Oh, I've seen staged live events. I work in the film industry. I've seen a lot of staged things in my life. This does not strike me as a staged event that somebody could just accurately do that. No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think he's. I agree. Yeah, I mean, if it's a 22, I don't know how far away he would have to be. I'm not a.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm not like my friend Brad Ackman,
What
who works at
happened was,
Front Sight,
someone did get
as a
shot.
trainer.
What I do hear is that I think 2 people did get shot. That to the best of my knowledge, and I believe that the former president, which I'm glad he is safe. So.
Leonard, and again, we don't have all these things confirmed yet. So this is your perspective here, but. When you say that you believe that 2 people were shot, could you actually see people, potential victims?
What I seen, and to the best of my knowledge, sir, is that and again, I was hearing it from other news sources.
The world
as well,
was on fire.
That
is blood on his face. He was shot in the ear.
On a couple of people. Someone was shot just like about 5 feet right behind us. To be honest with you, so we were that.
Right now, is it one of them that got to the shooter? Immediate response and around the president. We're going to coordinate this with.
On that exact point, whether they're looking to see if this was a lone actor, if others may have been involved, as I'm still getting information right now. But
he's a lucky guy.
Perspective. One thing that I thought was interesting there, and we talked about this with John Carl earlier, is it's not just the Secret Service, right? You have multiple law enforcement agencies on the ground at these major events, and Secret Service takes the lead.
I'm sure he probably does.
Working together. We saw some of them come up onto the stage in tactical gear and long guns.
Did the hair move?
How do those partnerships play out in the minutes, the hours, and the days after an event of this magnitude?
So certainly during the event itself, you're exactly right. The Secret Service only have so many people, and they're going to coordinate this with the city, county, and state jurisdictions in, obviously, this case, the state of Pennsylvania.
Those reporters who are right, I mean,
they will have
obviously their lives were in danger.
Trained
They're
prior
photojournalists.
to the event, and maybe because the president does hold a lot of rallies, have worked together before to cover all the different angles. Obviously, the Secret Service are going to be the immediate response and around the president. But the next layer or 2 layers or rings around security are going to be quite possible.
Right behind us, to be honest with you. So we were that close. And thank God
we
weren't shot either.
And where were you located?
It says no hate,
at the video
no politics.
Right now. This is the former president being.
We're not really talking politics here. We're talking about a live true crime event that we all witnessed. I think it'd be a little hard to make this all about this. I mean, I agree. Carlos Casillas, he is all about the show. This is a little bit of stretch, I think, for me. Oh, I'm sorry. Comments are just sitting here. RFK Jr. released a statement. I'll read it just because on the outskirts brought it up. So come on, share screen. RFK Jr. calls for prayers after Trump. Oh, look at those Carrera smart glasses with Alexa. RFK Jr. calls for prayers for Trump after apparent shots ring out at a rally. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. called on Americans to put aside their political differences and pray for the former president. Pray for the former president Trump after he was rushed off stage. Apparent shots rang out during his rally, Saturday rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Secret Service agents rushed Trump off the stage just minutes into his rally after he dropped down and reached towards his ear. When the noises rang out, he appeared to have blood on his face when he stood up. He pumped his fist in the crowd before being led away from the podium. He had to be led away. I think he wanted to milk it. I think he would have stayed on stage. I That I agree. He would have stayed on stage. He was probably mad he had to leave. He's probably had, no, fight now. Woo. Now it's time for every American who loves our country to step back from the division, renounce all violence, and unite in prayer for President Trump and his family, Kennedy said in his post on X. We'll just read the actual post. There you have it. Well, like that. Do I follow him? I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he has Robert F. Kennedy. Robert RFK Jr. doesn't have. I don't think he has protection. And Elon Musk tweeted he is now supporting. the former president. Last time America had a candidate this tough was Theodore Roosevelt. I fully endorse President Trump and hope for his rapid recovery. What is it that this world we're living in? I swear. Unbelievable. Big shout out to Karen Fan, who covered for me while I was in Chicago, by the way, guys. Let's get back to what we were watching. No. Oh my God, I'm in the wrong computer. Big shout out to Karen Fan for covering for me while I was in Chicago, so you guys could watch the Alec Baldwin trial, which ended yesterday, as we all know.
Of a smaller caliber.
All right, so they're talking about smaller caliber round, etc.
Who's been following this, and Martha, you're getting more reaction tonight.
More reaction and just in from former President Obama saying there's absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't yet know exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to recommit to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery. There is multiple reactions such as that and everyone, of course, glued to the television watching this event play out over and over. I've been talking to
I was worried about
in the military who are trained in weapons,
in Chicago,
and they too said this was probably far away from President Trump, and yet clearly a very, very dangerous situation. If, in fact, he was grazed by a bullet, that would explain why others were injured and possibly
he was grazed by a bullet.
Well.
Why do we sugarcoat these things?
This colleague from the military said that he believed they probably, listening to those sounds again and again, said the shooter probably got off a couple of rounds because we heard those sounds, those explosive sounds, those sounds of gunfire.
About an hour ago.
Several of them.
Yeah, I'm glad.
The likely got off a couple of rounds before he was then probably taken out by the Secret Service or whoever was outside that perimeter. But it's true. I mean, we've said this all afternoon. It is almost impossible to completely protect someone as hard as you try.
And Martha, what you're saying and what your sources are telling you lines up with what we've been hearing throughout the night, too, from the witnesses. That
Biden was briefed.
Several
he doesn't remember it
sounded like gunfire. The first couple were quieter, and then like the louder shots that came afterwards, which some have suggested, including Brad Garrett, our law enforcement expert.
Yeah,
also
I'm not
as potentially law enforcement firing back.
But I also don't want to see someone get assassinated at a political rally in my country. No, I don't care how. It's like if you watch sports, I'm a big sports fan, but you think about when you're watching two teams like really slug it out and you're rooting for your team, you don't want the other team to get injured and then then your team wins the championship because somebody got injured, broke their leg, or something happened to them, and you want to see two very capable candidates going against. You don't want to see this happen. You don't want to see this mar our political system. Who would want to run if this is what happens? It's ridiculous. That's, I think, what just shocks the hell out of me. It's very scary. Very scary. Anyways.
Exactly. And I think that is likely what will play out. We obviously have a lot to learn in the coming hours and the coming days, but that makes sense at all.
Shooter, which some have suggested, including several pops. It sounded like gunfire. The first couple were quieter, and then like the louder shots that came afterwards, which some have suggested, including Brad Garrett, our law enforcement expert, also described as potentially law enforcement firing back at the shooter.
Exactly. And I think that is likely what will play out. We obviously have a lot to learn in the coming hours and the coming days, but that makes sense. And also, when you look at President Trump, former President Trump put his hand to his ear and hear that sound, it sounds like it was a while getting to him. So that also would tell you that it was beyond the security perimeter. And that
He
is
was
a
supposed to
big
announce his
area, a
VP pick,
wide
right?
open area. People could probably stand quite far away from there. And of course, we know there are long weapons out there.
And as we've been hearing from law
TBS,
enforcement
not sure.
tonight, they are treating this as a potential assassination attempt.
Am I-
Again, trying to
am I
get more
glad he's going
information,
to
but
win
that's how
now?
they're treating it right now
Honestly, I don't
until they
care.
get those extra details. Let's bring in our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce. And I understand that you now have a response specifically
care.
from President Biden.
The president is out with this statement, and he notes, of course, that he has been briefed on this. He is watching this unfold from his beach house in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And the president says in this statement, I'm going to read it to you. He says, quote, "I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who are at the rally as we await further information." The president goes on to say, "Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety," adding, "There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it." Of course, we know
all
this
the people
moment comes
who were there
at a point in our nation's history when political rhetoric in this country is extremely divisive, and we are already seeing this incident being politicized. Some Republicans pointing a finger at the president, already arguing, of course, baselessly that President Biden is somehow to blame for this, noting, of course, that President Biden has put at the center of this campaign the argument that Trump is a danger to democracy. But tonight, the statement from the president just now, of course, grateful that Donald Trump is safe and doing well, praying for him, and thankful, of course, for the Secret Service for getting him to safety.
All right, that statement from President Biden. Mary Bruce, thank you. I want to go back to...
I mean, and here's the deal. I think that he will for sure win the election now. I am not happy with either candidate, and I'm not a fan of either one of them. So I'll just leave it at that. I won't really express my opinion, but yeah. But I do think, yeah. And I think that a lot of reform has to take place in this country politically and otherwise, and with our legislature and with our country as a whole. We should not have two candidates who are extremely old running for president. Like, where are all the other people that could run? Why are they not running? Why are people not motivated to be involved in politics at that level? Why are people not inspired? I had thought that when Donald Trump won the presidency in the first place, that would inspire people to come out of any position, out of business, wherever, out of the private sector, and say, I can run for president too. Look at this guy. He won. I can win too. You know, that's not an indictment of Trump. I don't personally like Donald Trump, but I don't want to see Donald Trump get shot. And I don't, and it doesn't mean I don't like him if he was the president. I just personally don't care for him, but that doesn't mean that, you know, I wish him any ill will. And if he wins the presidency, then he's the president. When he won in 2016, I told all my friends that refused to accept the election, he's our president. He won, guys. Get over it. Like, let's move on. And some of the things I liked that he did, and some of the things I didn't like that he did, just like every other president that we've had since I've been voting. I've been like, oh, I liked some of this, and some of it I most certainly did not like. So I don't know, but to me, these are our candidates, and that's where we're at. And I wish that younger people, younger demographics, I'm not running ever. Younger people, younger demographics would just, you know, would just say, hey, I want to get involved in politics. I want to help change the world. It's just all very, and now with all the money that can be poured in of the Supreme Court overturning certain restrictions on campaign finance reform, mega donors on both sides of the political spectrum pouring billions of dollars into campaigns, all the way down to local elections to try to swing votes, to try to tap into grassroots level organizing is terrible. Money, money is the root of all evil in a lot of ways. It can be amazing to have. Not that I have any, but it can be amazing. I hear it can be amazing to have a lot of money. But yeah, Citizens United, exactly. Yes, Citizens United. So it's it's not good. What happens to people? I mean, and why are both sides not getting it either? Cat loves cat skills. Why are both sides not really looking out for the for the people in our country. That's where I don't understand anything. I've heard good things about it. I have too, JR. I've heard it's really nice. Yes, since the Supreme Court of the United States decided that, yes, corporations are people, which is why I know. And Court McNeil, I always used to think that, hey, Canada, we have Canada up there. They're doing good things. They seem to be even worse. So crazy. Term limits in Congress, yes. It's a nightmare. You can see that. Oh, we'll have to look at that. Anyways, let's get back to let's play more of this. Let's see what's happening. Hold on. See what's happening here. Whoa.
John Santucci, our executive editorial producer for us. Rachel was inside the arena during this event, and while we were on the air for World News, and it was minutes later when she heard those shots ring out. Rachel, you've now been escorted outside. You've been with us the entire evening. What are sources telling you now?
They're not around. Yeah, this is the scene that's happening right now. We were escorted outside of the Trump rally. We are still not far from where those shots rang out inside. I just want to show you right here. There's been so much conversation about the security. These white tents right here. This is where Trump supporters were screened by Secret Service. This is typical at a Trump rally, standard with events with the former president. You go through magnetometers, you go through metal detectors, your bags are then searched. There are certain items like large bags that are prohibited from being entered into this facility. And then you are screened and you go inside of these rallies. Off into the distance there, this is the area that is now an active crime scene. We were inside the moment that this happened. We were on air with you live for World News Tonight. Then the former president took the stage. Within several minutes of the former president being on the stage, we heard these popping noises, one right after another, after another, after another.
Good point, Caleb's Catskills.
Screams. We heard screams from the crowd, people yelling, people shouting to get down, people shouting gunfire, gunfire. Cover. We, along with other Trump supporters, then ducked for cover. We took off going below the riser. We covered ourselves, covered our heads. We watched as Trump supporters tilted out of their chairs, covered themselves as well, shielded themselves.
You're 2 pence.
I talked to a number of Trump supporters, one telling me all she could do was just close her eyes and pray. She just said she was praying and praying, hoping that everything would be okay. Those screams went on what felt like for several minutes. I know it was just only a matter of seconds, but it really encapsulates just sort of the frantic terror and the chaos that people were feeling in that moment, confused about what was going on. Initially, we did hear shots of gunfire and get down, but we did not know for sure. Then within just a few moments after that, we saw that image and we were there live. We witnessed it along with the former president's supporters who were in the crowd. The former president who was protected and shielded by Secret Service agents, who was knocked to the ground. They protected him. He then rose up. We saw him put his fist up in the air. The crowd then cheered, many people telling me they were relieved to see that the former president was okay. He was then escorted into his own vehicle and he was taken away immediately. Meanwhile, Whit, our eyes then went
everything blows up on Twitter, by the way.
You know, during these Trump rallies, the former president
everything blows up on Twitter because it's Twitter.
All around him. He wants these to feel as intimate as possible, even though there are hundreds and hundreds of people there. So off over to the bleachers, what we then noticed were Secret Service agents and law enforcement officials. They were swarming what appeared to be one or possibly two individuals. And that is when all of us just sort of remained in that area. Law enforcement officials were telling everyone to still stay down to make sure they could get the situation under control. After several more moments, we did see law enforcement officials and Secret Service agents then take one individual away. I did notice that there was blood on the bleachers on that side, on that area. And then that was the moment where people started to clear out of that area. We saw law enforcement officials come out with crime tape. They started taping off the area. We continue to be live with you on the air, reporting what we saw and what we were learning in the moment. And then we saw Trump supporters start to file out one by one. Those crowds are very packed. And so many times you're not able to get cell phone reception because there's just so many people there. So this area right here started becoming a gathering place for a lot of Trump supporters, a place where they were calling their families, letting them know that they were okay. A place afterwards where people were checking on each other, trying to make sure that people were okay. And I want to bring in right now one person who was inside of this rally. Sir, you were inside.
Yes.
Where were you seated, and what did you hear?
We were seated right in the front there, a little bit to the left, about 6-7 rows back, and we were just standing up.
I do like that hat with the lightning bolt.
Trump talk there, and
it's like a
we just
what was
heard
that brand? What was that?
Like
an air conditioning.
Swipe his ear there, you know. And the next thing you know,
lightning bolt.
Other bullets, and he
play
fell.
on that.
Then there was like probably like 3 or more shots, you know. And then you just seen the crowd like just look over at the bleachers there, you know. And then it just got crazy there. I mean, it was so scary, you know. And I feel for all the innocent bystanders that because there was some people that got hurt, innocent bystanders there. And we're just praying for them, make sure they're all right. And that,
yeah, he looks like he's burned. Look at his
pray for Trump.
The inside of his
What
shirt.
was your initial reaction when you heard those popping sounds? We were inside as well. It was one right after another.
It sounded like someone set fire, you know, like firecrackers off, you know, like boom, 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 you know. And then, you know, you realize something's going on here, you know, and then everybody just like hit the deck, and it was pretty scary, you know. And there must have been a shooter on the outside of the perimeter, you know.
I'm voting for the
convicted
shooting
felon
inside
and hit some innocent bystanders. Because there was a big
that picture right there
train
is
there with speakers,
crazy.
And there was a line there, and the bullet got hit. You know, the line got hit, and you can see all the fluid go out of the hydraulic line.
Yeah. So we know there's so many unconfirmed reports. We know law enforcement is still working. This is an active investigation right now. How are you feeling? Standing here right now, this has been a very chaotic.
Yeah, he's so sunburned.
In a scary time, though. You know, this world.
Look at his
We
chest.
definitely need more police. You know, to patrol everything. You know, and hopefully we'll get that with Trump coming in here. You know, so everyone should get out there and vote for him, you know.
And your reaction when you saw the former president after he was shielded by Secret Service agents,
Boy.
we did see him pop.
If anything deserves an Oy vey.
Crowd cheering for him.
Yeah, he was looking for his shoes. He's like, "Where's my shoes?" But hopefully he'll be all right though. I think he's strong and he'll come back and be ready for November.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Oh,
I've been to almost every single campaign rally this election cycle, and this is typically an area right before the campaign rally starts. There are lines with Trump supporters, hundreds of people lining up, waiting to get checked in. Secret Service screening them one by one as they enter in. There's always a sense of sort of joy and excitement from the former president's supporters who are eager to go inside and watch him. And now, hours after this rally here, this has turned into an area where people are just confused. There is a state of that sort of panic. What do we do now? There's still some people hanging out here waiting to leave the area. Just on this other end here, there's some cars that are still sort of leaving, trying to get out of this area. You could see there the line of cars of people trying to exit this area. That gives you some perspective of just how many people actually showed up to this rally. The parking lots are very full. And so you had people not only hanging around, but still trying to leave this area now that it's been secured off and now that we've been escorted out with.
And Rachel, I know you've been to so many of these Trump rallies in the past. In fact, I even remember the two of us going to the same one at the same time in New Hampshire back in 2020. And you've seen the security, you're familiar with these procedures. And I think one thing that we've heard from some of the witnesses there, it does not matter your political affiliation here. This is a sad day in this country as we still wait to get more information, especially some of those bystanders, at least one reportedly who lost their life.
You do not like Trump.
Thank you so much. We do have a statement from President Biden here, and he writes that I have been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well, praying for him and his family and for all of those at the rally as we await further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it, a sentiment that we've been hearing from a number of officials on all sides of the aisle on this day and these remarkable events that have played out. Let's go back to Pierre Thomas, our Chief Justice correspondent in Washington, who's been talking to his sources. Pierre, one thing that we have learned in recent moments is that they are treating this as a possible assassination attempt until they learn otherwise.
Or hold on, do this.
This is an all hands on deck moment, period. Law enforcement officials said this will be treated as an assassination plot until it's not. The source also gave an update saying that former President Trump, was still at a medical facility as a few moments ago, receiving treatment, that he was doing fine. Again, we emphasize no life-threatening injury to the president. But again, as of a few minutes ago, the president was still at a medical facility receiving treatment. The FBI is also now going to engage in this investigation. Every effort will be put on identifying, understanding who the shooter was, this attempted shooter was, finding out more about that person's background to make sure
was
that
it
this
one
is confined
or
to a
two?
single
We
individual.
heard two.
We just don't know yet. Law enforcement, again, converging now, trying to get additional information so that security can be surged for the upcoming conventions. Also, we are getting information that law enforcement will be briefed later in the evening about what took place here. But again, you have a former president of the United States who is the leading candidate, soon to be nominated by his party as their candidate. Someone attempting to apparently kill him. That is the feeling. Until they can prove that it's not the case, that is how law enforcement is operating in this moment.
Peter Thomas for us. Thank you so much. I do want to note
All right. So it says that one person was killed, and then obviously the shooter. Yeah. Let's this is pretty intense. So let's all just take a quick moment of silence here for an innocent person who lost their life. Anyways, family, there's family members that are attached to this, and there's a whole slew of people who are traumatized, including the guy who's going to have the world's worst sunburn in about 12 hours. He's going to wake up and be like, ugh. He looks cooked, but wow. I don't know if the POW comment was apparently debunked by John Bolton, who is not a Trump fan at all, that he never said that, or something about that. CNN has Biden's speech. All right, let's go check that out. Well, we're on CNN. What? Oh, here we go. Okay, great. Oh, come on, man.
Yes. The Trump rally tonight will put out a statement.
All right, here we go. We'll start from the top. Share this screen. Oh, yeah, we are sharing this tab. Okay, great. Hold on. Is our current president of the United States.
20 seconds.
Just trying to remember if I didn't get home till 2 o'clock in the morning, by the way.
I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. He's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that people we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if we don't.
Did not know
I'm not
that.
able to give, if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. Everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I'm able to speak to Donald,
No foul language,
let you
please.
know that as well.
Anytime.
So far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that there's thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much. And I hope
I know. We don't want to see innocent people.
And I'll get you back to you.
I mean,
Mr. President, do you think
innocent people will be a stretch with Trump, but doesn't deserve.
I don't know enough. I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried?
It's 5:15 LA time.
Was the security failing, Mr. President?
He's like, I'm only good for about 5 minutes, so let me get out of here. Kidding, but not really. Kidding, but sort of not really. Wish I was kidding. This was wild yesterday.
All right.
This woman, Carrie Morrissey, who is a very effective attorney.
So,
defense attorney.
Dismissal with prejudice is a very extreme sanction.
This made me cry yesterday.
Case law is very clear that because it's very extreme, I have to go through every single element, and I have to make a very good record as to why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. So, in order to establish a Brady violation, the defendant must show that the prosecution suppressed evidence, the evidence was favorable to the accused, and your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
That's so crazy. I mean, crazy.
Now, with respect to the jury, I
think it was absolutely absurd.
On Monday, I will take care of the jury.
Thank you.
We are in recess.
It was absolutely absurd for so many reasons that he was on trial.
I'm not getting it. I'm going to.
Dismiss him, Judge. Dismiss him.
Go ahead.
Thank you all for your help. Stay all okay.
Yeah, this is crazy. Delete what comment?
Get on the courtroom.
Yeah, he's just gotta be just crazy.
Yeah.
So wild. It would have been interesting if this judge was in charge of the Karen Reed trial, for sure. But I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. Not here. Not me. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't delete any comments. I don't have the ability to do that. I'm in StreamYard, so I have to be on YouTube to do that. I'm in StreamYard, which is how I do all this stuff that I do. Which is why sometimes it's really buggy and a pain in the ass. Megyn Kelly is
honestly watching. They're savage animals. They are people that are sick, really sick.
Science that a lot of Trump.
Let's not actually hear him talk.
In serious breaking news out of Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania, to be specific, this evening, where former President Donald Trump appears to have been the victim of an attempted assassination. He was grazed by a bullet, according to local authorities. Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldinger telling the Washington Post that Trump was grazed by gunfire but is safe. We are receiving similar messages from the Secret Service that Trump is safe that he's
so
been
now somebody actually said what happened.
Confused about what exactly had just happened to him, as opposed to
This
just
picture
bloody
is
with his hand nearby.
nuts. Can you imagine taking that? I can't, as a photographer, I can't imagine taking that photo in that moment. That's just wild. Anyways, we're not going to watch Megyn Kelly. Mover Nation, it's good to be back. Wow. What happened? What just happened? Period. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow. 77,000. Can I get to 70? Mover Nation, can I get to 77,000 on my live streams? That would be incredible if that could happen. Fight science? No, we don't need to see all this. Hey, look, there's Melanie Little. ABC News.
Silence. And as John noted, yes, it is certainly unusual to hear President Biden refer to Donald Trump by his first name. And yes, we know that he tried to reach out to him. We don't know why he wasn't able to get a hold of him, but the president says he's going to continue to try.
We do deliver.
And this
Marisol.
How much it has completely and totally upended this campaign, this race, this moment that we are in America. We were just days away from the Republican National Convention. We have seen, of course, a ratcheting up of divisive rhetoric in this country. We were at a point where you were hearing, as Joe Biden has been facing a lot of doubts from those within his party about the future of his own candidacy in this race. He's been urged by others to take the fight to Donald Trump more forcefully, to outline more forcefully the case in this race. All of that now coming to a halt. The campaign announcing that they are trying to pull down. They are going to be pulling down their ads off of the airwaves. That this is a moment where instead of ramping up, you are having the campaigns hit the pause button completely. Now, what will that mean? How will that change this race? Will it change the way the two parties talk about each other going forward? Will it actually bring the country together?
That's a good point.
Questions and things that remain to be seen in the coming days. One more thing.
I told her fans were awaiting her.
Was asked if he thought this was an assassination attempt. He said, I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. Echoing what I think many Americans are thinking right now.
Absolutely. Mary Bruce, thank you so much. I do want to bring in District Attorney Richard Goldinger from Butler County, Pennsylvania. Richard, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We've been reporting this information that you gave to some of our team here at ABC News about the shooter being dead.
Did you miss Daddy?
And at least one bystander, possibly a second, also killed. What more can you tell us about this incident?
Didn't you?
Well, I'm sorry to be talking to you under these circumstances, but yeah, I can confirm that the shooter is dead. And we have one spectator who did pass away as a result of this incident. The second individual that was removed from the scene is in what I would say serious condition. I don't know their condition at this point, but we do have at least two spectators that sustained injuries, or obviously the first one passed away.
She is adorable.
From
Marisol for president. Yes.
Forgive me, just to confirm. So the shooter is dead. You noted that. But earlier we reported possibly two spectators were killed. So now you're saying, just to clarify, one was shot and killed. Another one sustained serious injuries. Their condition at this point, unknown?
That is correct.
Talk Chicago.
Do we know anything about this shooter?
Chicago is fun.
At this point, no.
Is it a man?
I don't even know if it's male or female, to be honest with you. So
okay, so we don't know if it was male or female. Was the shooter? Is it believed that the shooter was actually in the venue, or fired the shots from outside?
I can confirm the shooter was not within the venue. The shooter was on the roof of a building that was adjacent to the venue. And so they would not have had to go through the security process of entering the rally and, be subject to the search and everything.
Forgive me,
So,
I was just getting some information in my ears.
Talking
You're speaking.
Chicago.
So the shooter
I got to
not in the venue, on the roof adjacent to the venue.
Baby Marisol. Yes.
So is
the
it believed
babies.
then that some of these other shots that we heard witnesses describe that was law enforcement returning fire? Was it law enforcement who took the shooter out?
That I can't confirm.
That's a yes?
No, I can't confirm that.
Okay, so it's not clear how the shooter died.
Correct. At this point, we don't know. I don't know. How about that? I don't know at this point.
Fair enough. I understand. And forgive me, I know it's a fluid situation and information is coming in piece by piece.
Extremely, yes.
Richard, just your take in general. This is obviously
so I went to this restaurant that was on the
in this
river.
Country. I mean, not only do we have this act of political violence, we have bystanders,
pretty
people
cool.
out there just exercising their right to support a candidate, potentially shot and killed. What are you feeling at this time?
There's a jazz band playing.
I mean, first of all, I'm embarrassed for my community that this happened here. I am disgusted and sad that somebody actually lost their life as a result of this. And I mean, unfortunately, it appears to be just almost, I don't want to say a microcosm, but the state of our country, where we are right now and how divided we are, and somebody would resort to something like this.
Yeah, so I was there filming, and I had an event that I went to that I was promoting and working on, and so it was really fun. So went to this restaurant that the client's client wanted to take us to. Made this whole deal, and I wanted to get content, but we went to the restaurant reluctantly. And the person that brought us to the restaurant ordered all the stuff on the menu. He's like, oh, I come here all the time. This is my restaurant. This is where I go. He has a tequila brand. He's like, oh, it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I was with one other person who was my client who brought me, and we wanted to order like a salad. I didn't want to eat pizza and pasta and fried calamari and bread and all that. I don't eat that stuff, right? I'm very, very rarely, and it's got to be amazing if I ever do. And the food was good at this place, but I wouldn't have ordered this stuff. The bill comes at the end of the night. The guy had left like an hour and a half earlier, but had ordered all this stuff and stuck us with the bill. It was unbelievable. And I get mad because I don't drink alcohol anymore. I haven't drank alcohol for 4 years, and and everybody was drinking except for me. So I'm stuck paying for it. It was the worst. I will find a way to recoup that money out of this situation, but I was very upset. But I did not say anything about it. I just very gracefully just was like, okay, and put a smile on my face, but I was not happy about it. Yeah, $600 later. Yes. But I split it, so it was $300. I don't have $300 to spend on stuff like that. Yeah, it's just rude. It's so rude. So rude. I was livid. Yes, how to best expense that. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it was well, and so the person I was with had worked in restaurants, and he had this waitress that he had come over, and she went in because she was under the impression that he owned the restaurant. I wasn't under that impression, but he sure as hell made it sound like he owned the restaurant. But I was like, no, he doesn't own the restaurant. But I had thought, because I've gone to people who are very well, gone to dinner with people who take you places, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna, he never said I'm gonna pay, but he ordered. Usually, when somebody orders food for the table, it doesn't say, hey, Collier, did you see the menu? What would you like? Yeah, whatever what do you want? When you're commanding the table, that usually leaves the impression that you are paying for everything. And since you ordered all the food and you ate the food and then you had the drinks and then you left, I had just presumed that he had said to the waitress, like, here, put it on my tab, or here's my card, take care of them, or cut the bill off now that I'm gone and start a new tab for them, and they can pay for that. The new tab, and I'll take care of the other tab. That happens a lot. Would have been fine with that. Nope, they left. And they did not pay for their share. I was really upset. But I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Exactly. Yes, I was, I did not have a, I did not have a lot of time while I was there, which is also what sort of aggravated me as I went to this thing and then I get stuck with Bill and I didn't really want to be there in the first place. So, but it's okay. But, yeah, I had a nice time. Had a really nice time. Just in the brief moments. I mean, the restaurant was cool. Like I showed the video, it is on the water, which was right on the river. And it was a fun little, it felt very touristy and I was super stoked by that. So I was okay with that, but yeah, I was not. Yeah, here are some of the people that were with us. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I probably shouldn't show that. That was our table though. And there's the video that I showed with the boats going through it. And this guy's just talking about how he, and I love these barges that they just, these little boats and they're doing all these tours and everything. It was so much fun. It looked like people were having fun. And I did enjoy myself. That was really the only respite I had because the rest was like film, go places, Uber here, Uber there, back to the hotel, sleep for a minute. Okay, back. Now go to this property, shoot this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it was wild. But it was cool. It was, I did have a good. They did not have a chocolate poached pear. Catlos Catskills, they did not. No, it wasn't. We didn't invite him. He invited us to this restaurant, made us take an Uber because this was his place to go. That's the thing. I didn't invite anybody. We were invited. He's like, we're all going here. Come, we're all going to this restaurant. I'll take you to my favorite restaurant. So when somebody says, I'm taking you, we're going to my favorite restaurant, that implies that, and then they order everything for you, that implies that they're paying. That's the point. That was the point. Yeah, I'm glad too. Yes, he should have paid. That was the point. That was the point. Yes. Oh, I will be billing them, but it was just very shady. Like, why do you just like? And he just kind of slither out. It's all bad. And he's like, "Oh, come back to Chicago next time you come." I will never call you when I go back to Chicago. You will be my last person I call. Is like that one girl parading as an. Oh yes, parading as an heiress. Yes, like oh, what was her name? It was a Netflix show with Julia Garner who played the girl. Oh God, what was her name? Why is the name escaping me? Yes, the fake heiress, but yes, the fake heiress. Yeah, see you never. Oh yeah, I'll figure it out. Oh, I'll have lost your number. Exactly. Anna Sorokin, I believe was what her name was. Anna Delvey, but she was her last name was Sorokin. Anyways,
I don't know the motive with me, and it took probably a good 10 minutes to get out of there, to get out of the whole area. And before you know it, there's ATVs and UTVs flying and ambulances and all that kind of stuff. And we're trying to figure out how to get out of there and get home. But we made it. And when we walked out to the road, they had, police blocking everything off. And we actually found out where the building was that the shooter was shooting from. They had it all taped off. I guess it was like an agricultural warehouse, something like that. So probably so. It was pretty scary. It's like you're in the movies.
Stephen, forgive me again. I'm sorry. There's a little bit of a delay with the connection, but did you say that you were able to see the building that the shooter was allegedly perched on top of?
Yeah, I don't know who the racist misinformation is. What did it look not like? Here. We're not giving any sort of like racist misinformation.
Kind of like an airplane hangar, maybe, like a warehouse for.
And I would agree also with the people who hire people. I live in California. It's a big deal.
Like that on the side, but once we were out, maybe 30, 40 minutes after,
a lot of people reap the benefits of cheap labor.
They had the dogs going and all that stuff.
Exploitation. Look at his ear, man. Terrible.
There was traffic jams everywhere. It was kind of hard to.
Hi, Jen.
How
Thunder.
far away was that area?
Yes, except
from
the person
where the former
the
president
person
was
who
standing.
didn't pay for the bill too was also in New York.
Maybe 300, 400 yards.
Sorry to tell you, Cat loves Catskills.
Honestly.
And Stephen, when you hear that people who were there in the crowd with you, other bystanders, at least one, maybe more, were killed. How does that
I had
make
to pay
you feel?
$300 of a $600 tab.
Honestly, still kind of numb to it. You know, it's hard to process.
And there was
all
two
this.
of us.
You know, your
was
heart rate is
7
through
of
the
them.
roof. But
5 of them.
you know, best wishes for their family, and you know, they were supporting the country that they love. And in the meantime, it's definitely sad. And you know,
and I don't drink.
It's heartbreaking, honestly.
And Stephen, we've been hearing from people on both sides of the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, independent candidate, RFK Jr., and all with the same sentiment, condemning political violence, saying there's no place in this country for something like this. And I just wonder, from your perspective, too, you're out there, you're exercising your right to support a candidate. You know, what message do you have for people out there? Because the country is at this political boiling point. There's so much division and anger and hatred right now from one side and the other. What would you like to tell people?
You know, at the end of the day,
I was in River
you're
North.
on the left, the right, the center, or you don't believe in politics at all. We all still put our pants on in the morning. We all breathe the air and go to work, you know, and a lot of these issues, in 10 years, no one even thinks about them or cares about them. So we're all people at the end of the day. And, you know, it's not worth taking someone's life over political beliefs or whatever. It's just senseless.
Well, Stephen, I think many people would agree with those words. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing that video. And we're so glad and thankful that you and the people you were there with are doing okay. Thanks again.
Of course. And as Kelly Clarkson says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Well, let's hope that that's what happens in this country from here forward. The country definitely needs a moment of healing as we work closer and closer to Election Day. Stephen, thank you again. Let's go back to Rachel Scott. I believe she's still there.
There's that image of Trump. I'm just going to leave it at that. Mover Nation. I will be here live tomorrow on YouTube. We will cover the Alec Baldwin trial and probably more of this because will be in the news cycle, I'm sure, for the next 48 hours. And some Karen Reed updates too. I mean, we might not get to those. We might have to get to those on Monday or something. A lot happened in the 3 days that I was gone. I left on Wednesday. I got back this morning at 2 a.m. Yeah, not a Kelly Clarkson reference. Yeah, no, not in the words of Kelly. Like, what? Oh, what's happening? Mover Nation, we get through another one. Thank you for joining me on this impromptu live. I've been on for a while. New episode tomorrow. We will have our usual regular live. If you are a channel member or a Patreon supporter, I meant to be posting this. We have our AV club tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We are going to watch season 2 of the Worst Roommate Ever. The episode is My BFF Tried to Kill Me. We're going to watch that tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm sorry. What did it say? 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern time, July 14th. That is tomorrow. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Join us. It will be in the members section. Peace out, Gen X to the 7th power. Thank you all so much. Marisol, you get to see Marisol. I need a nap. Woo! Woo! All right, Mover Nation. Hey, look, it's a polarizing time. There's some crazy stuff that just happened. Let's all be kind to one another. This is not the way to handle our differences, is by just doing crazy shit like this. Yeah, let's just be kind to one another. As I always say, it's just, we all have the luxury of walking away. We go back to our lives. Hit that like button on the way out. If you wouldn't mind, please hit that like button on the way out. Remember, be kind to one another, be caring, be the person that your dog believes you are. And here's the outro. I'll see you in the next one. Mover Nation, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to all my channel members and Patreon supporters. And for more exclusive content, behind the scenes videos, monthly VIP meet and greets, and watch parties, please consider supporting me on Patreon or by becoming a YouTube channel member. If you like this video, check out this one right here or this one right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps with the algorithm. On that note, I'm Collier Landry. I'll see you on the next one. Good girl, Marisol. Good girl.